This film is based on a true story. The radio announced that a thunderstorm would hit the western part of Austin within the next hour. In the opening scenes, we see a man on a farm preparing breakfast and after arranging everything nicely, going up to the attic. Leaving the tray there, the man locks the attic and leaves. Emma woke up in her car on a road where there was no mobile signal. After looking around, she was about to continue her journey. A severe storm was expected in this area. Stopping at a roadside store, Emma asked for directions. The saleswoman advised her to turn back because the tornado was already close. But the girl didn't listen and drove forward. She couldn't reach her sister Elena, whom she was headed to visit, and called Brian but quickly changed her mind. Brian called back, but Emma ignored the call. One of the tires went flat, and the girl was forced to stop. There were no tools in the trunk. By the way, this was Brian's car. Hearing the warning sirens, Emma turned around and saw the approaching tornado. The signal disappeared completely. Seeking help, Emma arrived at a nearby farmhouse and knocked on the door. No one answered, and the wind was getting stronger. A man approached Emma from behind and told her to follow him. Together they ran to the bunker. Although Emma didn't know this guy, she had no other choice. Inside, the guy explained that this bunker was built during World War I, so it was sturdy enough to withstand the hurricane. Finally, the guy introduced himself. His name is Jack. Due to the strong wind, everything was shaking. To distract the frightened girl, Jack asked her various questions. Emma said she had come from Austin. Jack promised that everything would be fine. The storm ended too suddenly. Jack was the first to leave the bunker to check. It seemed they were lucky because the tornado had passed by. Emma was ready to continue her journey, but she had a flat tire. Jack offered to help, as no mechanic would come out here in such weather. Before starting the repair, Jack suggested they have some coffee. Emma agreed. First, Emma washed her face in the bathroom. The long sleeves of her sweater hid bruises. This was what Emma was running from, her abusive boyfriend Brian. Jack told his guest that she could feel at home. Emma thanked him for the coffee and for saving her. If it weren't for him, she might not have survived the storm. It turned out that Jack didn't live alone. He had a 16-year-old daughter named Kylie, who was currently in Florida on spring break. Emma thought Jack was divorced, but in fact his wife had passed away a year ago. Emma felt very sorry to hear that. This house had belonged to Jack's late wife. Over the past year, he still hadn't managed to get everything in order. Emma gave Jack the keys to her car and was about to go with him, but he insisted that she stay in the house because it might still be unsafe outside. Before leaving, Jack told Emma that she reminded him a lot of his wife. While he was gone, Emma looked around the house, where there were many photos of Jack's wife and daughter. Hearing the sound of the car alarm, Emma peeked out the window. Jack gestured that everything was fine. Emma's anxiety grew. It seemed like apart from Jack, a woman lived in the house. He also had a shotgun. Emma went upstairs. A lock hung on the door leading to the attic. Some girl looked through the peephole, but Emma didn't see her because Jack returned. He asked if everything was okay. Emma said she had heard some noises. Jack assured her with a smile that it was normal for old houses like this. Emma was going to get her phone from the car, but Jack insisted on bringing it himself. Later they had lunch. Emma noted how delicious it was. Jack said he had made the soup using his wife's recipe. He lost her in a car accident. It all happened too suddenly. Both Jack and his daughter had gone through a very difficult time. Their conversation was interrupted by noises from upstairs. Jack once again blamed the old building. Casually, Emma mentioned her boyfriend Brian, whom she had been dating for 3 years. Now Emma had decided to end this unhealthy relationship. Jack said that it was better late than never. The conversation was interrupted again by noises from upstairs. Apologizing, Jack hurried up. A few seconds later he came back down, saying that part of the roof had been damaged by the wind. The signal still hadn't returned, which made Emma anxious. The news reported that the hurricane center hadn't dissipated. People were advised to stock up on necessities and stay indoors. While Jack was washing the dishes, Emma was rummaging through his things. Jack caught her doing it but pretended not to notice. There were many pictures of his wife in the house because Jack believed they contained her spirit, even though he wasn't particularly religious. Emma had never been very religious either, attending church only out of a sense of obligation. According to Jack, after the last storm, there had been no phone service for a week. Now Jack felt responsible for Emma, which was why he didn't want her to leave. Emma politely asked him to return her car keys. After thanking Jack once again, she left. However, the road didn't last long, as Emma once again saw the approaching storm. She was forced to return to Jack's house. This time the storm was much stronger, and they had no more than 2 minutes to take shelter. While Jack struggled to open the jammed bunker hatch, Emma filmed the tornado on her phone. Finally Jack succeeded. Telling Emma to hide behind the shelves, Jack was making a tremendous effort to hold the hatch down. The storm quickly subsided again, but Jack was in no hurry to open the hatch, which frightened Emma. She insistently asked Jack to open it. Though not immediately, he eventually did. There was no electricity in the house. It seemed the generator had failed. Jack turned on a portable radio. The broadcast said that the storm warning was still in effect, and the risk of tornadoes was high. Jack shared that he felt lonely in this house because his daughter often stayed with her grandmother. After the workers left, it became even lonelier. Jack's behavior was getting more and more frightening to Emma. Suddenly he turned on music on the radio and began encouraging Emma to dance with him. She turned off the radio, firmly stating that she needed to continue her journey. Jack persistently asked her to stay, saying that the storm could start again at any moment. However, Emma remained adamant. Before she left, Jack had one more request for her, to check if the electricity would come on when he restarted the generator. Emma reluctantly agreed, but in reality she was just waiting for the right moment to escape. Suddenly Emma lost sight of Jack. He snuck up behind her and knocked her out. Emma woke up tied up. The electricity was still out. Jack explained that he did this to keep her from putting herself in danger again. After that, he treated the wound on her head. Emma demanded that he let her go. Jack assured her that he would as soon as she started behaving reasonably. At first Emma tried to reason with Jack calmly, saying that her sister might call the police and they could track her phone. But Jack believed that the police would have more important matters to deal with in the coming weeks. He wanted Emma to stay in his house for a while. She asked for permission to use the bathroom, and Jack kindly escorted her there, waiting outside the door. When Jack lost his patience and knocked, there was no response. Jack began knocking more insistently, but Emma still didn't answer. Breaking the lock, Jack burst into the bathroom. No one was there. Jack thought Emma had escaped through the window and was about to chase after her. In reality, Emma had been hiding behind the shower curtain the entire time. While Jack searched for her outside, Emma fled, but her car wouldn't start. The signal returned, and hiding in the barn, Emma immediately called the police, but due to the high volume of calls, no one was on the line. Suddenly Emma received a call from her sister Elena and briefly explained what was happening. Jack continued to look for her. The signal disappeared again. Meanwhile, the lights in the house came back on, meaning Jack had successfully restarted the generator. Jack sneaked up from behind, but Emma managed to fight him off and hide again. Jack searched for her, repeating that she needed him. Taking advantage of the moment Emma rushed to escape, Jack chased after her. But with a tornado in her path, she was forced to go back with Jack. He tied her up again. Emma's phone, by the way, was broken. The radio reported that the storm was subsiding for the time being. Jack decided to talk to Emma about trust. She believed that trust was out of the question because Jack's house held many secrets, especially the attic. Emma was certain someone was up there. Jack tried to suggest to her that she was delusional from the shock. When Emma said that his daughter probably wouldn't be proud of his actions, Jack lost his temper. But he calmed down fairly quickly. Now, with dozens perished and hundreds left homeless by the hurricane, he believed he was doing a good thing, as without him, Emma wouldn't have survived. Emma realized that Jack was a psychopath who wanted her to pretend to be part of his family. Jack left for a while, causing Emma to panic. When he returned, he heard police sirens and accused Emma of being ungrateful. Hurriedly packing all of Emma's things into a bag, Jack placed them in the trunk and covered her car with a tarp. The police arrived because an emergency call had been made from here earlier. Deputy Sheriff Schultz explained to Jack that a woman in a silver SUV had gone missing in the area. Her sister had already filed a report with the police. The deputy sheriff asked for permission to look around. Jack didn't object. Finding fresh tire tracks, Schultz demanded an explanation from Jack. He replied that it must have been his daughter's car, as she had recently left for Florida. The deputy sheriff asked Jack to provide the contact details for his daughter Kylie and her grandmother. Seeing two dirty mugs in the kitchen, Schultz found it suspicious and continued to look around. In the distance, the warning sirens went off again. Emma began shouting for help, and the deputy sheriff found her in the bunker. When Schultz descended, Jack fired, taking her life. Realizing that she could be next, Emma started to behave quietly. Ordering Emma to drink a soda, Jack suggested they start their introduction over to clear up the misunderstanding. Earlier, Jack had seen textbooks in Emma's trunk, so he guessed she was a teacher. Kylie really needed extra tutoring. They could be one family. Emma said she couldn't be part of the family while tied up, but Jack wasn't in a hurry to untie her. Suddenly Emma felt unbearably weak. Jack didn't hide the fact that he had added a sedative to the soda. Emma had nightmares from her past. Brian was often cruel to her. Jack put handcuffs, stolen from the deputy sheriff, on Emma. While he watched home videos on the TV, Emma pretended to sleep. Taking advantage of the kidnapper's distraction, Emma managed to free herself from the handcuffs. Seeing completely different people on the television, she was horrified to realize that Jack had gotten rid of the previous occupants of the house. Sneaking into the kitchen, Emma grabbed a knife. She also took her car keys. Noticing that Emma had escaped, Jack began looking all over the house for her, but Emma managed to lock herself in. What Emma didn't expect was that Jack would lock the door from the outside, preventing her from getting out at all. Emma went up to the attic, where she found Kylie, the daughter of the previous owners. Some time ago, Jack had delivered groceries to their family and asked permission to use their phone. The mother and daughter had let him in. Kylie didn't remember exactly how long she had been here anymore. Sometimes Jack would visit to talk and play Monopoly. When Kylie disobeyed, Jack would become aggressive. Emma promised the girl that she would get them both out of here. Shortly before Jack invaded this house, Kylie's father had left. Jack believed that he, Kylie and her mother would become a real family. Kylie's mother had told her to run. The girl did just that. Jack chased after her, shouting that he wouldn't harm her. Kylie hid, not realizing Jack had sneaked up behind her. Finding a hammer, Emma was about to break Kylie's handcuffs. They tried to distract each other with conversation. Emma shared that she had run away from her abusive boyfriend and was heading to her sister. Emma didn't manage to break the handcuffs on the first try. As long as Jack remained unsuspecting, they continued to try. Meanwhile, Jack went into the garage to get a saw. Kylie wanted Emma to leave alone if the storm started again. But Emma wasn't going to leave Kylie here. Using wire cutters, she managed to break the handcuffs after all. Suddenly there was the roar of a saw. Jack was determined to get into the attic at any cost. It was too high to jump, and the tornado would be here in a few minutes. By the time Jack broke into the attic, the girls had already hidden. It was all just a fun game to him. The girls ran down the stairs. Grabbing the hammer, Jack chased after them. They locked themselves in the bathroom. Jack guessed that despite the storm, they had escaped through the window. He went outside, urging them back into the house and acting as if they were his wife and daughter. The storm grew stronger. All this time the girls were hiding by the fence. When Jack moved far enough away, they ran into the bunker and locked the hatch. Jack begged Emma to let him in, but of course she didn't. The tornado consumed him. The storm quickly passed, and thus the girls were saved. Outside there was a lot of destruction. Emma and Kylie left the bunker, holding hands. Then they hugged. Soon an ambulance and the police arrived. Emma told an officer what had happened. Jack's body was never found. The officer explained that Jack used to work as a delivery driver and had been spying on that family for a long time. Emma didn't mind at all if Kylie stayed with her until the girls' relatives came to get her. They hugged again. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel not to miss more exciting new products. Also, the authors will be pleased if you leave your opinion in the comments.